Canadian Nuclear Laboratories' proposal for a near-surface disposal facility, or NSDF, is a responsible solution for low-level waste that will be generated from the cleanup mission at Chalk River. Let's move this environmental solution forward. Say yes to NSDF. Visit the Virtual Visitor Centre at engagewithcnl.ca/NSDF to learn more and how you can support this initiative. We encourage you to have your say.
Hello, welcome to the Construction Record Express. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and with me, as always, is
Journal of Commerce staff writer Russell Hixson.
And just last week, we had the Canadian Construction Association's annual conference, the first in-person one in a while. We didn't attend in person. We attended via live stream. I did too. Russell, what did you cover for the CCA's event?
Yeah, I covered a really interesting session with the president of Impact Canada, which is like a government and media relations company. I think his name's Huw Williams. It's
That's right.
Huw. I believe that's how it's pronounced. He spent a massive amount of time working behind the scenes with politicians on various campaigns and doing a ton of work in Ottawa. And so he has kind of this insider perspective on how politics works and what the various major players are thinking. And so he talked about, he kind of gave the construction industry a lay of the land, if you will, on kind of what's going on in Canadian politics and what to keep an eye on. And, you know, here, I'll give some of the major points. First of all, he said Canadian politicians are taking note of how divided the country is. He says he hasn't seen anything like this in a long time. He likened it to where the U.S. is around 2016. And he noted that a lot of it is kind of a rural-urban divide. So you have a lot of urban people and a lot of rural people kind of clashing. And he said there's also this phenomenon, especially exacerbated by the coronavirus, where you have families. It's not this kind of abstract concept that there's a group of people that disagree with me. It's literally the person sitting across from you at the Thanksgiving table that disagrees with you, and you fundamentally oppose politically. So he says this is causing a lot of interesting dynamics in Canadian politics. And he also talked about the Conservative Party leadership race and how that's very interesting and just how unpredictable leadership races are. He said that Trudeau is likely here to stay, even though there's some rumblings in the party, some disgruntled people with him. The fact is he wins elections, and
That's
kind
true.
of that trumps pretty much everything. So he believes that Trudeau is likely here to stay, unless he it's kind of at his discretion if he wants to exit politics or not. But for the time being, he has the support of his party, it appears. And Jagmeet Singh appears to kind of be the opposite, where he's not winning elections, he's not gaining a ton of ground, but he remains immensely popular in his party. They like him. They like how he represents the party. They like how he represents the party, and kind of the image he puts out there, and they believe that he's a great representation of the NDP. Of course, Williams talked about the Green Party and called it a dumpster fire of a party right now, just a total mess during the election. That's what he said. And yeah, just a lot of insights and things to look at. But one of the main things is the Conservative Party's leadership race, and that's also what a lot of people in the audience were asking about as well. So it remains to be seen. I believe that will happen later this year.
September, I believe, is when they do finally pick some.
And there's a few hats in the ring, and Williams knows some of them personally, and so he gave kind of his thoughts on them and kind of what their keys to success will be and how they can unite voters, hopefully. So yeah, check out our story and get all the details.
Cool. I also covered a session called the Innovators Pitch: Contact. And basically what happens is three different firms sort of vie for, I think they get a spotlight in a CCA publication, and they get some sort of like mentorship and that kind of thing. Anyway, Mach 85 is an engineering company. They have a sort of system of what they said was, with climate change, a lot of bridges and other infrastructure are aging, and there's a lot more to deal with than they thought, say 50 years ago. When they built this thing, they'd have to. So they set up these sensors and AI systems to sort of monitor the entire bridge instead of having one or two people physically going out and inspecting, which these guys are, I think, from New Brunswick. And they said there's two people on staff to do it. So it's just an impossible task. And then there was also something called Stabiliforce, where they have a hydraulic piling system so if you've got a house, for instance, that's older, and if you use regular piling, you'd probably, basically screw up the foundation. So this would fix that. It sort of lifts the house. I'm not doing it justice, but go to stabiliforce.com to check out what it is. But it is an interesting new way of using pilings. And then there was a software called OnTracker. And what it does is it sort of does project management, but it's drag and drop for companies, as opposed to having to the way they put it was, it's not just outdated pen and paper practices that construction firms use, which they certainly do. It's also outdated project management software, which comes from a time of manual entry. And this doesn't work that way. It does a lot of, again, AI to sort of finesse all this stuff without having to use as many people to do it. And without having to hire a developer or a coder, because apparently it's all drag and drop. The end result of all that being Mach 85 was the company that everybody said, not everybody, because it was voted on, but the majority of people said, this is the company we want to sort of mentor going forward. So that is not published yet. Yours is published as of today when we're recording this Tuesday, so it'll be available to read as of when this comes out on Wednesday.
Yep, it's up. And then I hopefully I can have some more conference stories coming up as well, and I'll talk about them kind of when I know that they're going to be coming out.
Okay. And from the East, Daily Commercial News staff writer Angela Gismondi is working on a project story about the Lakeridge Health Accelerated Build long-term care home. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the province of Ontario's long-term care sector, Infrastructure Ontario, and Lakeridge Health decided to partner with PCL Toronto to build a new long-term care home. The first accelerated build project in Ontario, Lakeridge Gardens, was completed in months instead of taking years. The facility is a 6-story, 320-bed, state-of-the-art care facility located in Ajax, Ontario, serving Durham Region. The team integrated lean construction principles and technology and used modular components to the facility delivered quickly. And that's it this week for TCR Express. If you'd like to hear more, we're on Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify, as well as the Daily Commercial News and the Journal of Commerce websites. Thanks for listening.